Welcome to the official live stream of the Department of Information and Communications Technology Region 3, Bids and Awards Committee, managed by the BAC Secretariat. This live stream is part of our commitment to transparency, integrity, and accountability in government procurement, in accordance with applicable procurement laws and their implementing rules and regulations. The session will begin shortly. Please stand by. For updates and official information, please visit our website and follow DICT Region 3 on social media. This is a public service from the DICT Region 3 BAC Secretariat. Thank you for watching. Welcome to the official live stream of the Department of Information and Communications Technology Region 3, Bids and Awards Committee, managed by the BAC Secretariat. This live stream is part of our commitment to transparency, integrity, and accountability in government procurement, in accordance with applicable procurement laws and their implementing rules and regulations. The session will begin shortly. Please stand by. For updates and official information, please visit our website and follow DICT Region 3 on social media. This is a public service from the DICT Region 3 BAC Secretariat. Thank you for watching. Welcome to the official live stream of the Department of Information and Communications Technology Region 3, Bids and Awards Committee, managed by the BAC Secretariat. This live stream is part of our commitment to transparency, integrity, and accountability in government procurement, in accordance with applicable procurement laws and their implementing rules and regulations. The session will begin shortly. Please stand by. For updates and official information, please visit our website and follow DICT Region 3 on social media. This is a public service from the DICT Region 3 BAC Secretariat. Thank you for watching. Welcome to the official live stream of the Department of Information and Communications Technology Region 3, Bids and Awards Committee, managed by the BAC Secretariat. This live stream is part of our commitment to transparency, integrity, and accountability in government procurement, in accordance with applicable procurement laws and their implementing rules and regulations. The session will begin shortly. Please stand by. For updates and official information, please visit our website and follow DICT Region 3 on social media. This is a public service from the DICT Region 3 BAC Secretariat. Thank you for watching. Welcome to the official live stream of the Department of Information and Communications Technology Region 3, Bids and Awards Committee, managed by the BAC Secretariat. This live stream is part of our commitment to transparency, integrity, and accountability in government procurement, in accordance with applicable procurement laws and their implementing rules and regulations. The session will begin shortly. Please stand by. For updates and official information, please visit our website and follow DICT Region 3 on social media. This is a public service from the DICT Region 3 BAC Secretariat. Thank you for watching. Welcome to the official live stream of the Department of Information and Communications Technology Region 3, Bids and Awards Committee, managed by the BAC Secretariat. This live stream is part of our commitment to transparency, integrity, and accountability in government procurement, in accordance with applicable procurement laws and their implementing rules and regulations. The session will begin shortly. Please stand by. For updates and official information, please visit our website and follow DICT Region 3 on social media. This is a public service from the DICT Region 3 BAC Secretariat. Thank you for watching. Welcome to the official live stream of the Department of Information and Communications Technology Region 3, Bids and Awards Committee, managed by the BAC Secretariat. This live stream is part of our commitment to transparency, integrity, and accountability in government procurement, in accordance with applicable procurement laws and their implementing rules and regulations. The session will begin shortly. Please stand by. For updates and official information, please visit our website and follow DICT Region 3 on social media. This is a public service from the DICT Region 3 BAC Secretariat. Thank you.
Good morning. Okay na tayo.
Okay na po, Vice Chair.
Good morning, Back Secretariat. May I request you to check the attendance and confirm the presence of a quorum for the Bids and Awards Committee.
Good morning, everyone. Before we proceed, we would like to remind everyone that this PREBID conference is accessible via Zoom. It is simultaneously being live streamed on our official Facebook page, BICT Region 3, and YouTube channel. Acknowledging the presence of our attendees today are BAC Vice Chairperson, Mr. Edwin Mendoza, our BAC members, Mr. Jeffrey Lazaro, Mr. Rose Libao, and Ms. Nerve de Guzman. Vice Chair confirming that we now have a quorum.
Since we have a quorum today, is the pre-bid conference of the procurement of additional sites for the provision of internet connectivity services in municipalities phase 1 in the provinces under Region 3 with BAC number 2025-005 and a bid reference number 12244332. Thank you, Ma'am BAC Secretariat. Let us be reminded that the purpose of this pre-bid conference is to clarify and to explain any of their requirements, terms, conditions, and specifications stipulated in the bidding documents. With me, may I request the end user, Engineer Paulo Landicho, to further explain this requirement, terms, conditions, and specification stipulated in the bidding documents. Thank you. Engineer Paulo, you have the floor.
Hi, good morning po. Good morning to all. May I present po our detailed technical specification sheet for the procurement of additional sites for the provision of internet connectivity services in phase 1 in the provinces under the region 3. Okay, so starting with our general information, the Department of Information and Communication Technology recognizes the vital role of information and communication technology in nation building and declares its policy to promote an environment for the development of infrastructure that will ensure the availability and accessibility to reliable and secure internet access suitable to the needs of our nation. Our objective, the DICT of Free Wi-Fi for All program, is a digital empowerment program that aims to connect Filipino nationwide through the provision of free Wi-Fi in public places in accordance with the Republic Act number 10929, also known as the Free Internet Access in the Public Places Act. So we have the pursuant to Section 4 of RA 10929, the free Wi-Fi for all shall be made available at all governments, hospital, and health centers, national and local government offices, public libraries, public parks, plazas, and other open areas, public schools, state universities, and colleges, along with TESDA institution and transport terminals across our country, to bridge the digital divide by equipping municipalities with high-speed, secure, and reliable internet access through fiber optic technology, enabling the provision of internet connectivity services in municipalities in Region 3. Rationale of our project. This project aims to procure an internet subscription from an internet service provider for the free Wi-Fi for all program, public hotspots. The basis of this tender of RA number 109184, also known as Government Procurement Reform Act. Section 5, Republic Act of RA 9184 defines goods as referring to all items, supplies, materials, and general support services which may be added in the transaction of public businesses or in the pursuit of any government undertaking. Such definition necessarily includes the procurement of internet service providers and public utility services such as water, electricity, telecommunication, and internet service provider. Rules and regulation to implement the provision of Republic Act 10929 for the free internet access in Public Places Act. Under Section 4, definition of terms referred to the internet service provider. as an entity that provides access to and or internet networking connectivity via the internet for a monthly fee and may include other internet-based value-added services. Meanwhile, in Section 14, it states that the ISPs may acquire and utilize internet connectivity directly from the satellite services and other emerging technology providers to ensure universal coverage, which, when used to provide internet connectivity, shall be considered value-added service. The GPPB guidelines on the procurement of water, electricity, communication, and internet services, ISPs, as amendment states that if the procuring entity does not presently engage an ISP, after the conduct of a cost-benefit analysis as required in the preceding subsection is not satisfied with the performance of its ISP, the following procurement methods are prescribed. If there is more than one service contractor operating within the area, public bidding or any applicable alternative procurement methods. If there is only one service contractor operating in the area, it can be in the form of direct contracting. Considering the above premise and upon verification of the current market prices and the quality of the service of our internet connectivity along with its internal policies, the free Wi-Fi for all program of the ICT may acquire an internet connection via the allocated budget for implementation. For our mode and nature of the procurement, this is a competitive bidding. And we also have the approved budget for the contract of the total cost 2 million pesos and 16 centavos under the sub-arrow number of 2024 10-1705. And tax and other fees, all proposals shall be inclusive of all taxes, installation charges, operation and maintenance, incidental expenses and other fees, and one-time costs. For our project duration, the contract duration covers delivery days and acceptance and service delivery and on and operations. So for our delivery of the service and acceptance at all location in contracted lot must be completed within 25 calendar days upon the receipt of the NTP or notice to proceed. The service coverage meanwhile shall include SLA and warranty within 12 months. For our component breakdown, we have here the breakdown for each provinces. Uh, one lot for the provinces of Nueva Ecija, Tarlac, Bataan. Three locations, one per each provinces. Our unit cost is 55,555 and 56 centavos per province per month. And the total cost for the 12 months is 666,666 and 72 centavos per province. A total of 2 million and 16 centavos for the three provinces po. And our scope of work, the service provider shall design, supply, deliver, install, and commission a business commercial grade internet access per identified location with the following minimum characteristics. So for our location, the provision shall be dedicated to each identified location. You may refer to our Annex A to the list of locations attached later. We will see that. Annex B for the site survey template. For our bandwidth requirement is fiber optic cable shall provide a maximum information rate of 200 Mbps with a download of 50 Mbps. And for our committed information rate, we have 100 Mbps and 10 Mbps upload with maximum of 60 millisecond of prompted latency and 95% uptime and availability with an unlimited monthly data allocation per location. The service provider shall be responsible for conducting actual testing at the base point, at the endpoint to ensure the internet meets the minimum bandwidth requirement. We do have a captive portal providing a landing page upon connection to the network. You may refer to our Annex G for the captive portal and signage design. The design and content of the landing page portal can be changed upon the request of the ICT Region 3 and shall be applied to all sites within 24 hours of request. Each hotspot will have a default SSID of a DICT free Wi-Fi for all. and may be modified upon the request of DICT Region 3 as well. Landing page must be either of the following: dict.gov.ph or dict-r3safe.ph or other specified by DICT Region 3. For our access point, we shall provide 3 access point per identified location with the basic with the minimum specifications of at least IP68, 801.11 Wi-Fi standards, wireless security of WPA and WPA2, certification of CE, FCC, or IC. For our MIMO, we should at least 2x2 or download and upload for MU MIMO and maximum data rate of 500 Mbps for 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz for 5 gigahertz we have 2.4 gigabytes. For our power method, we have PoE or PoE plus. Antenna type must be a built-in omnidirectional antenna. For the gain of our antenna, we have 2.4 gigahertz for 3 dBi and 5 gigahertz antenna gain 4 dBi. We should also have a VLAN of 802.1Q, flash memory of 16 megabytes. Concurrent clients must be at least 200 and above. Guest traffic isolation supported, and also it must have capable of API isolation, cloud management, beamforming, radio-based client limiting, as well as its backward compatibility with each network equipment to be installed and cloud compatibility with each network equipment. For our router, we shall provide 1 router per our location with a total ports of 10 RJ45 ports. And from these 10 ports, we at least have 4 ports of 1 ports and 8 ports of PoE ports. For our total output, 130. Sorry, this could be only a 30 watts. Power output of PoE and PoE plus at AO2.3 AF and with a minimum client of 128. Our RAM is 512 megabytes, flash memory of 256 megabytes, data throughput of 1.5 gigabytes, and a concurrent user of 300 clients. For our comprehensive management, it shall have flexible management options, public cloud management, batch configuration or zero-touch provision. It must have a dashboard for security and policy enforcement, network access protocol, application identification, blocking of application and websites, and granular policy enforcement, as well as for our captive portal or our authentication and portal features. It must also it is also capable of portal authentication, customizable portal page, and integration with third-party portal. And also must have centralized network management for manage local access points, manage local router, and discover and provision of APN routers. So our software-defined wide area network or SD-WAN capable, it must be up to 300 Mbps, up to 64 branches, and flexible architecture support with public IP for SD-WAN and automatic WAN selection with primary backup and fast auto switch shall be available on our router. For our VPN, it should be IPsec, VPN server client supported, L2 TP VPN server client, PPTP VPN server client, and OpenVPN VPN server client. For our data communication box, the service provider is responsible for ensuring an appropriate equipment box or communication box is provided to accommodate all necessary equipments and other related equipment requiring the provision of our service. This box should be on the sufficient size and quality to ensure host and protect the equipment from damage, or theft, and should be compatible with the specific requirements of the service provided. Additionally, the service provider must ensure that the equipment box is installed in a suitable location that is easily accessible for maintenance and troubleshooting purposes, and must follow the minimum requirements. So we have here letter A for our size, at least 9 new data cabinet. For our dimension, you may refer to Annex C. The minimum dimensions of an 9 new cabinet is 450 height, width of 600, and length of 600 millimeters. Protective tape must be applied. It should be also weather resistant with at least two exhaust fan and with a circuit breaker of 10 amperes with power distribution unit, surge protector, and surge protector. We also have here our UPS or uninterruptible power supply. Must provide one uninterruptible supply capable of backing up to at least 30 minutes. And the specification of the UPS shall be in a minimum of at least 16 VA or 900 watts, 220 volt AC for the input, output of 220 volts AC, and UPS technology must be line interactive. It must have an LCD for the display, and total number of outlets is six. Backup time of at least 30 minutes. For the quality of our service shall provide policy or standards in network optimization must be able to provide the prioritization of internet traffic between clients or application. The service provider shall provide bandwidth management policy. The service provider must ensure and maintain monthly the required bandwidth deliverable together with the submission of MDR, provisioning of centralized management system accessible via web, and a dedicated dashboard for the ICT access with 95% availability must be an enterprise-grade Wi-Fi management system with the following functions. Must be accessible via web browser, Android, iOS devices, and must have intuitive usage and traffic graphs. For it also must include a dashboard for quick status checking and easier visualization of performance and utilization. Must be scalable up to thousands of devices. Must have the capability to map out installed devices for efficient management and monitoring. Must have the functionality for RF mapping and RF spectral analysis for ideal placement of equipment leading to optimization of performance. Must have built-in report creation and analytics that can be configured to produce detailed reports. Also capable of multi-site management, and there should be a report-based data gathered from the management system to be submitted to us, the DICT, every first week of the succeeding month. Following activation of site services, reports must include long logs of outages and uptime and service availability. Must be able to integrate in any NEMO network monitoring system using API and SNMP integration. So for our signage, each access point must have an signage to be provided by the ACT for the design, and the size is no less than A1, compliant with the communication standard protocols to be described by us. The ICT shall bear the contact information, how to connect, and other necessary information to be provided by the ICT. As mentioned earlier, you may refer to our Annex G for our signage. The signage must be sturdy, made of durable materials, and securely installed in its designated location. The service provider shall provide necessary hardware termination, cable, proper bus bar, and other requirements uh, to set up the internet connection. Provide a dedicated circuit breakers and submitters if necessary or as requested by the beneficiary. For our security, we shall provide appropriate security measures and proactive solutions against attacks and malicious activities transiting through their network. So the service provider shall have security that blocks proliferation of security threats, including malware, phishing, crypto mining, botnet command and control attacks, callbacks as part of compliance to the Republic Act of 10175 or the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. The service provider shall have a child protection system which can block child abuse related to content such as but not limited to pornography and proxies and etc. This is in compliance with the Republic Act 9775, the Anti-Child Pornography Act of 2009, and also for RA 7610, the Special Protection of Children Against Abuse, Exploitation, and Discrimination Act. So the DICT will provide a list of prohibited websites for blacklisting, and the provider shall ensure a regular and continuous monitoring and updating of the blacklist website. We also shall provide provision for blacklisting and integrating the list, such as those maintained by the BPJM of Germany, Internet Watch Foundation, and the Philippine government. So the provider shall follow the guidelines regarding the domain name system, the name system or DNS requirements by the ICT cybersecurity team to be provided by the DICT. Shall be prohibited to connect external devices to the internet service provider. Server or modem and open ports are not allowed. For service monitoring, shall provide DICT with a view access account that shows a near real-time dashboard for quick status check and easier visualization of traffic performance and utilization. Must be capable of at least 12 months data retention for recovery and backtrack monitoring. Must be capable of tracking and sending event logs of the network. For our coordination for site survey with the DICT is mandatory, must be completed before commencing any survey activities. Prior, the approval of the DICT is required to ensure compliance with regulations and obtain necessary permissions before you do a site survey. For our during our post qualification process, the lowest single calculated bidder is required to ascertain the availability and justification of the necessary equipment and related materials essentials for the successful delivery of services. This ensures the bidder's capability to fulfill the project requirements and adhere to the stipulated notice to proceed timeline. The service provider shall be responsible for the coordination, acquisition, if there are any necessary processing of any permits and other documentation for the survey and installation. The DICT shall provide reasonable assistance to the service if needed. Initial acquisition of the contact person and details, acquisition of verbal agreement or conforme, or MOA for the survey and installation, or provide personnel to oversee the installation activities of the service provider. For dismantling and pull out after the project contract, the service provider shall conduct, facilitate the dismantling and pull out of all installed network equipment for each accepted location upon the request and approval by DICT Region 3. So for our relocation, in any event that the location sites need to be relocated due to reasons such as, but not limited to the renovation, service provider shall perform a relocation without any extra cost to the DICT, provided that the new location is within the locality. For our weekly reporting, the service provider shall submit a detailed weekly report to the DICT throughout the project's implementation. This report will include progress, updates, challenges encountered during your installation, and any adjustments made during the implementations. For our warranty, the service provider warrants that all the network components supplied under the contracts are new and unused, that they incorporate all recent improvements in the design and materials except when the technical specifications required by the procuring entity provide otherwise. The service provider further warrants that all network components supplied under this contract shall have no defect arising from design, materials, workmanship, or form of any act or omission of the service provider that may develop under normal use of the supplied components. In addition, prevailing in the country of final destination for a period of 1 year from the date of delivery and acceptance. During the subscription period, in the event that the network component are found to be faulty under the normal use, the service provider shall provide a replacement unit within 15 days from the receipt of notice of defect from the ICT. So we will have a training. The winning bidder must conduct a capacity building for the following: a technical training and certification program for DICT Region 3 to enhance technical capabilities, improve project service, equip the DICT Region 3 with the latest skills and knowledge in areas such as but not limited to cloud computing, cybersecurity, data analytics, and digital infrastructure. The DICT shall nominate the attendees for this training. So we will have also our service level agreement. The service provider must have a dedicated personnel monitoring the network. The service provider shall assign one technical account manager to facilitate issue resolution. The provider shall maintain and ensure the operation of the services provided by the DICT, must address every incident encountered promptly and accordingly, and shall provide an escalation matrix. Must address every incident encountered promptly and accordingly per the following service level agreement. So we will have our first level. Must initiate remote support to be provided within the first 30 minutes up to 1 hour from the issue was first reported. The service provider must provide on-site support if the issue has not been resolved within the first 4 hour period of following discovery. For our second level, if the report is within 4 to 8 hours, the service provider must need repair services and parts replacement. The service provider must also provide configuration and reconfiguration services when needed. The service provider must submit an incident management report not more than 30 minutes on the outset of the issue, but not more than 30 minutes after the issue has been resolved. Failure to comply may subject to rebates, okay? So, what are our rebates? So, rebates and availability of service, downtimes, outages shall be considered as chargeable rebates. Rebates exclusion, unavailability of service, downtimes, outage during scheduled maintenance, emergency maintenance, or other instances, provided prior approval of the ICT has been made at least 3 calendar days before the activity. Any downtime caused by the scheduled or unscheduled power interruption. However, service credits will be provided in the form of service extension based on cumulative monthly service or bandwidth availability. Availability will be based on the corresponding equivalent values indicated in the table below. So we have here our service credit equivalence table. For every for our 95% of uptime, we don't have any service credits or extension or neither days of extensions. However, if we will fall down to 94.99 to 90%, we are subject for 20% of service credits, a total of 6 days. Lower than that, 89% to 80% is will result to 40%, which is equivalent to 12 days. 79% to 70% is equivalent to 60% or 18 days. Next to that is 69% to 50% is 80%. That is 24 days. And if you will be going 50% and under, that will be a total of 100%. And number of days is 30 days. In the event that the service provider exceed the cumulative downtime for more than 40% service credits or 12 days downtime per month per location, it will impact, of course, our performance evaluation of the supplier. This will threshold serve a key performance indicator to ensure service reliability and uptime compliance. So for our availability, as you can see on our table, it should be 95% and above. You must have a 24/7 technical assistant or help desk facility support service. For outages, the service provider must report every incident to be tracked through email or other online messaging platforms. Once resolved, the service provider must report the reason for the outage and action taken to resolve within 24 hours. For our monthly reports, the service provider shall submit and verify monthly downtime report, monthly service report. As to be, you will see this in our Annex F. The DICT Region 3 FIP will provide the initial MDR MSR for the service provider's review. This is for your first monthly report. Succeeding reports must be from the service provider and must be verified by the DICT. Safety measurements, the service provider must install equipment in accordance to engineering standards and follow safety protocols by DICT and the beneficiary side. If possible, communication boxes and access point must be mounted at least 6 feet or higher and mounted in a secure location or preferred location by the beneficiary or the ICT. The service provider must do proper electrical and grounding installation, making sure that no wire or any electrical components are exposed that can be cause or pose a danger. Electrical cable should preferably be directly tapped on a circuit breaker. The service provider must avoid using imposed materials that are not visually appealing in the installation of equipments and cables, such as not but limited to the recycled plastic containers, rusted metals, recycled scrap of wood. The service provider must ensure the cables are fixed, properly groomed, and are not hanging loosely on the premise. The service provider must do the necessary structure labeling, such as but not limited to the installation of cable trays, HDPE pipes, or plastic moldings. Patch panels and patch cables for UTP cables. This ICT recommends using hook and loop faster, but zip ties are also acceptable. So the service cable loop must be installed in a pull box for easy access and maintain ensure the safety and security and efficient cable management, reducing the risk of damage and improving overall network reliability. The LAN cable must be properly labeled. LAN cables used for the project must comply with installation standards appropriate to their environment. For indoor installation, only a standard indoor LAN cable shall be used. For outdoor installation, outdoor LAN cable must be utilized, meeting the following standard: UV resistant cable, and all cables must be compliant with relevant industry standards to ensure safety, durability, and optical network performance. 13.9, all equipment must have the ICT logo and the ICT free Wi-Fi for all sticker. All access points have signages or posters easily visible with instruction on how to connect with the network. For liquidated damages, all locations shall be affected and activated at or before the end of 25 calendar days, service delivery period. And also, the service provider shall be liable for liquidated damages equivalent of at least 0.1% of the unperformed portion of the contract for every day of delay in reference to the Section 68 of RA 9184, the Government Procurement Reform Act. So for our requirements on this bidding, we have here the ISO certification for ISO 9001 2015 management system, or ISO 27001 Information Security Management Compliance Company. For also we have compliance to the National Privacy Commission (NPC) for Data Privacy Act of 2012, non-expired and certification from NPC should be submitted during the bid opening. For service provider under the category of public telecommunication entities or the PTEs to submit of their following. Valid certificate of public convenience and necessity CPCN from the NTC, National Telecommunication Communication, as provider of broadband or internet connectivity. However, if you are not a non-public telecommunication entity, you may submit valid value-added service or VAS registration certificate from NTC. Your VAS, as defined under the NTC Memorandum Circular of 0205-2008, the certificate registration must be valid during the duration of the contract. So we have the value VAS registration certificate from NTC specifically for internet access services, for broadband services, and Wi-Fi hotspot services. If available, we would also like you to include your VPN or virtual private network with the VPN access and managed VPN services, wide area network or WAN services for managed WAN solutions and multi-protocol level switching. If you have managed hosting services for technical support and IP multicasting for efficient content delivery. The service provider must present the following during the post-qualification. The service provider must be an authorized reseller of the network active devices provided by a certificate from the manufacturer, data privacy officer with the certificate from registration issued by the NPC itself. The service provider should also have the following qualified personnel. Any recognized networking certification can be CCNA, HCNA, CompTIA, and Network Plus, or any equivalent from this. So you must submit a list of personnel with these trainings or certifications with their certified true copy of certificate of completion for the training, certification, and seminar with company identification of personnel. The service provider shall have undergone similar project of the similar nature as well. Shall be contracts pertaining to the supply or management of information communication technology or ICT equipment or internet protocol based internet interconnectivity of data audio or video. So for our taxes and other fees, all proposals shall be inclusive of all taxes, installation fees, other fees, and one-time costs. Documentation, the service provider shall provide all necessary documentation, specification sheet, that the equipment provided service is compliant with the specifications specified in the terms of reference. The project is subject to the applicable provision of Republic Act number 9184, its revised implementing rules or IRR and other relevant issuance. Now proceeding with our testing and acceptance, the DICT reserves the rights to test and service and accept or reject any or all the delivered equipment service not in accordance with the technical specifications. So the service provider shall conduct testing and acceptance activity. So we will be giving you a method of procedure provided here, Annex E, and procuring entity unless otherwise requested, but not limited to our user acceptance test form provided also here. And for our pre-test acceptance checklist documents are consist of screenshots, photos with the coordinates of bandwidth testing, speed tests of MIR and CIR, locations of access points, comebacks, and cabling. For our the service provider must submit accomplished pre-test result to the DICT at least 3 working days prior to the schedule of your acceptance advisory form that was approved by the ICT. The user acceptance test shall be conducted by the authorized representatives from both parties. Test results such as but not limited to hyper speed test or any similar bandwidth measurement tool shall be used as proof that the supplied bandwidth is compliant with the required deliverable as in acceptable requirement for acceptance. Testing acceptance shall be done for the identified locations. So we have here acceptance report together with UAT and as built sketch signed by a registered PECE to be approved by the ICT, of course, and certifying that the service is already available and conforms in accordance with the specifications. The service provider shall submit the service acceptance report raw or video recording that shows in the following sequence: facades of the building that shows the identity of the location, walkthrough video of all installed devices, video recording showing GPS, screen recording is not allowed, and video recording of testing internet through speed test using Ookla, iPerf, etc. Screen recording is not also allowed. May I just add that this is only for online acceptance. The winning bidder shall submit necessary documents such as acceptances as built and technical service support and others. And of course, upon the completion of 90%, the service provider shall submit their pre-test results to proceed with the testing and acceptance. So we have here the 25 calendar days delivery period, 12 months service coverage that includes our SLA and warranty. And for our all locations that are accepted and estimated will be paid in accordance with the payment schedule. All the undelivered sites under the specific lot that lapse within 25 days or days installation and delivery schedule will be subjected to liquidated damages in accordance with the provision of the TOR. A completion report must be submitted. This will serve as the final requirement for delivery of the service. The DICT will provide template for the completion. You may refer to Annex H for the completion report. For our payment schedule, billing shall commence a day after all services under the awarded contract have been successfully activated. The total contract amount shall be divided into a number of days of service coverage and will be paid on a monthly basis. Upon completion, submission of supporting documents, but not limited to the statement of accounts, monthly service reports. The deadline of the submission of SOA will be every 7th of the month of the following month. Failure to submit on time, the payment will be rescheduled to the next payment period. Billing shall only commence the day after all location lot is accepted and operational. Payment shall only commence upon the availability of downloaded funds. And for our pre-termination of our contract, the contract for the procurement of the project may be pre-terminated by DICT for any violation of the terms of the contract. In the case of pre-termination of the contract, the service provider shall be informed in writing by the DICT within 30 days prior to such pre-termination. The DICT shall have the right to blacklist the service provider in case of pre-termination for valid reasons. So this was prepared by our ITO1 focal of Free Public Internet Access Program Engineer Carisma B. Gutierrez, approved by our Chief of Technical Operation Division Engineer Mario Antonio VII, and also approved by our Regional Director Engineer Antonio Edward E. Padre. So I will be showing you here the list of locations for Bataan, Balanga. We have the provincial capital of Balanga, Nueva Ecija, Palayan, the provincial capital of Nueva Ecija, Tarlac, Tarlac City, the provincial capital of Tarlac. Here's a sample of our site survey form. And also the dimension of our communication box. The user acceptance form. And methods of procedures. The summary, the monthly service and downtime report or our monthly service report. Here is our signage and captive portal. And for our completion report, that concludes our detailed specification sheet for the procurement of additional sites for the P in municipalities, phase 1 under the Region 3. Mr. Vice Chair, I would like to proceed with the uh, bidding documents for the procurement of additional sites for the provision of internet connectivity service in municipalities, phase 1 in the province under the Region 3.
Go ahead, Engineer Paula.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Proceeding with our bidding documents with the approved budget for the contract of 2,016 centavos. Bid reference of BAC 2025-005, July 2025. We have here the table of contents. You may also refer this. Okay, proceeding with section 1. We will be only highlighting the important parts. Section 1, the invitation to bid. Invitation to bid for the procurement of additional sites for the provision of internet connectivity services in municipalities, phase 1 in the provinces under Region 3. So we have here the Department of Information Communication Region 3 through the Automatic Appropriation Free Public Internet Access Program Fund, Automatic Appropriation FPAP Fund under the sub-aro of 2024-10-1705 intends to apply the sum of 2,016 centavos as the ABC or payment under the contract of the procurement of additional sites for the provision of internet connectivity services in municipalities phase 1 in the province under region 3. So we have here the the breakdown of the 2,016 centavos per province and per province per month and a and a yearly cost per site. So we have here the ICT Region 3 is now inviting bids for the above procurement. The delivery of the service is required within 25 calendar days. Our project duration, implementation duration rather. Upon the receipt of the notice to proceed, bidder should have completed within who bidders should have completed within 5 years from the date of submission and receipt of bids a contract similar to the project. The description of eligible bidder is contained in the bidding documents, particularly in section 2. Okay, bidding will be conducted through an open competitive bidding procedure using a non-discretionary pass or fail criterion as specified in 2016 revised implementing rules and regulations or IRR of the Republic Act 9184. Prospective bidders may obtain further information from DICT and inspect the bidding documents address given below from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. A complete set of the bidding documents may be acquired by interested bidders on July 21, 2025 from the given address here. The ICT Region 3, okay, Marathon Square Building, again, Valley Road, Santa Rita, Ginto, Bulacan. So we have here our telephone number of 044-792-3743. And upon payment of the applicable fee of bidding documents pursuant to the latest guidelines issued by the GPPB in the amount of 5,000 pesos, the procuring entity shall follow the bidder to represent its proof of payment for the fees by emailing a copy of official receipt at TICTR3BACSEC at tict.gov.ph or presentation of the official receipt in person. So the DICT Region 3 will hold a pre-bid conference on July 29, happening right now via Zoom, and also live via DICT Region 3. Highlighting here, bid must be duly received by BAC Secretariat through manual submission at the office address indicated below on or before 9 a.m. August 13, 2025. Late bid shall not be accepted. Bid proposal may be submitted by authorized suppliers representatives. All bids must be accompanied by a bid security in any unacceptable form in the amount of stated in 90 clause number 14. So as mentioned, bid opening will happen at August 13, 2025, 9:30 a.m. at our office here at DICT Region 3, Santa Rita, Guiguinto, Bulacan. It can be via video conferencing or you can attend personally. For video conferencing application meeting, password kindly email the back secretariat at dictr3backsec at dict.gov.ph or you may call us to our landline. Bids will be open in the presence of the bidder representative who choose to attend the activity. Bidders are encouraged to send at most one representative to be physically present at the bid opening. The Department of Communications and Technology reserves the rights to reject any and all bids, declare a failure of building, or not award the contract at any time prior to the contract award in accordance with Section 35.6 and 41 of 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184 without thereby incurring any liability to the affected bidders or bidder. For further information, you may refer to our back secretariat, Miss Jennifer Elagan, or email here at dictr3backsec at dict.gov.ph or on our website at dict.gov.ph. You may also visit the following website. Aside from our website is the PhilJEP's website. Proceeding to the instructions to the bidder, Section 2. For the scope of bid, the procuring entity, the DICT Region 3 wishes to receive bids for the said procurement with identification number of BAC 2025-005. The procurement project referred to here in project is composed of one lot. The details which are described in Section 7, the technical specification. Funding information of 2,016 centavos. The sourcing funding is NGA, the General Appropriation Act or the Special Appropriations. For our bidding requirements, the bidding for the project shall be governed by all the provisions of RA number 9184 and its 2016 revised IRR, including its generic procurement manual and associated policies, rules, and regulation as the primary source thereof, while herein clauses serve as the secondary source thereof. Any amendments made to the IRR and other GPB issuance shall be applicable only to the ongoing posting, advertisement, or IB by the back through the issuance of supplemental or bid bulletin. The bidder, by the act of submitting its bid, shall be deemed to have verified and accepted the general requirements of this project, including the other factors that may affect the cost, duration, and execution or implementation of the project or contract, and examine all instruction form, terms, and project requirements in the bidding documents. Corrupt, fraudulent, collusive, and coercive practices. The procuring as well as the bidders and suppliers shall observe the highest standard of ethics. During the procurement and execution of the contract, they or through an agent shall not engage in corrupt, fraudulent, collusive, and coercive and obstructive practices defined under the Annex 1 of 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184, other integrity violation in competing for the project. Who are the eligible bidders? Only bidders found to be legally, technically, and financially capable will be evaluated. Foreign ownership is limited to those allowed under the rules participating in the project. Pursuant to Section 23.4.1.3 of the 2016 revised IR of RA 9184, bidder shall have an SLCC that is at least one contract similar to the project, the value of which adjusted to the current price using the PSA CPI must be at least equivalent. For the procurement non-expandable supplies and services, the bidder must have completed a single contract that is similar to this project. equivalent to at least 50% of the ABC. The bidder shall comply with with the eligibility criteria under the 23.4.1 of the 2016. Okay po. For the origin of goods, there is no restriction on the origin of goods other than prohibited by decision of the UN Security Council under the Chapter 7 of Charter of the UN Domestic. Subcontracting is not allowed. Pre-bid conference of Percoling will hold a pre-bid conference for this project on the specified date and time through the video conferencing webcasting indicated in paragraph 6 of the IB. Clarification and amendment of bidding documents. Prospective bidders may request clarification or interpretation. Any part of the bidding documents as requested by in must be in writing and received by the procuring entity. It should be at least 10 calendar days before the deadline for the setup submission of the receipt of bids. For documents comprising the bid eligibility and technical components, the first envelope shall contain eligibility and technical documents of the bid, a section specified in section 8. The bidder's SLCC as indicated in clause 5.3. And if the eligibility requirements or statement, the bids and all other documents for submission to the bank are in foreign language other than English, it must be accompanied by a translation in English. So for our documents, comprising the bid financial component, the second bid envelope shall contain the financial documents for the bid as specified in section 8, checklist of technical and financial documents. If the bidder claims a preference as a domestic bidder or domestic entity, a certification issued by DTI shall be provided by the bidder in accordance to FT 43.1.3 of the 2016 revised IRR of RA number 9184. If any bid exceeding the ABC indicated in the paragraph 1, it shall not be accepted. For foreign funded procurement, the ceiling may be applied to bid prices provided the conditions are met under the section of 31.2 of the 2016 revised RRR of RA 91F4. For the bid prices, we have here the price indicated in the price schedule shall be entered separately in the following manner. For goods offered within the procuring entity, the price of the goods quoted uh is in this form. The cost of all custom duties and sales and other taxes already paid or payable. The cost of transportation insurance and costs identical to delivery of the goods to their final destination. The price of the other incidental service, if any, listed. For goods from abroad, unless otherwise stated in BDS, the price of the goods shall be quoted delivery duty paid with the place of destination in the Philippines as specified in the BDS. So, uh, the price of other incidental services, if any, are also listed in Section 7 for the in the technical specification. So, bid and payment currencies, payment of the contract shall be made in the Philippine peso. So, for our bid security, the bid shall submit a bid securing declaration on any form of bid security in the amount indicated in the BDS, which shall not less than the percentage of the ABC in accordance with the schedule. The BDS, the bid and bid security shall be valid until 120 days from the bid submission. Any bid not accompanied by acceptable bid security shall be rejected by the procuring entity as non-responsive. So, sealing and marking of bids, each bidder will submit 3 copies. Bidder shall enclose their original eligibility or for original technical component, the original of their financial component, and original bid. So, if there will be also for the 2 copies, copy number one of copy number blank of technical component, copy number of financial component, and copy number of bidding of bid. And then the original and the number copies of the bid is indicated in witness type or written in ink shall be signed by the bidder or its duly authorized representative. All envelopes contains the name of the contract, bear the name and address of the bidder, capital letters, be addressed and procuring entity back in accordance with ITB Clause 1, bear the specification and indication of bidding process indicated in Clause.1.2, bear a warning or do not open before the date and time of the opening of bids. Bid envelopes that are not properly sealed and marked as required in the bidding document shall not be rejected, but the bidder or its duly authorized representative shall acknowledge as condition of the bid as submitted. The back or the procuring entity shall assume no responsibility for the misplacement of the contents, improperly sealed or marked, or for its premature opening. For the deadline of submission, the bidders can submit the specified date and time specified in the invitation to bidders at their physical address through online submission as indicated in paragraph 7 of the invitation to the bidder. So, opening the preliminary examination of bids, the bank shall open the bid in public at the time, on the date, and at the place of the specified in paragraph 9 of the invitation to the bidders. In case video conferencing, webcasting, or other similar technologies, participant attendance shall likewise be recorded by the back secretariat. So we also here our domestic reference for the procuring entity, the detailed evaluation and comparison of the bids. For our post-qua, within a non-extendable period of 5 calendar days from receipt from the bidder of notice from the back that is submitted the lowest calculated bid, the bidder shall meet its latest income, business tax, returns filed and paid through the BIR electronic filing and payment system, and other appropriate licenses permits required by law and stated in the BDS. For the signing of the contract and proceeding with our uh section 7, the technical specifications. Okay, all the specifications are already has been read earlier with our detailed technical specification sheet. So we will only highlight the bidder must state either comply or not comply against each the individual parameters of each specification, stating the corresponding performance parameter equipment offered, statement comply or not comply. So these are the requirements from our detailed technical specifications.
Thank you, Engineer Paulo, for the detailed technical specification. So, reading the eligibility requirements and the common causes of or grounds for disqualifications are already read. So, before we open the question and answer, allow me to greet everyone who attended in this pre-bid conference, starting with our observer from ICEP Bulacan, Engineer Jessa Lapiguera. Good morning, Engineer. And we have also here from LTSI, Sir Jerome Gallaron. Good morning. Good morning to you, sir. From PLDT, Robert Valdez, and PLDT also, Jay Balayan, and WIT, Mark Agustin, and also from WIT, George Belen III. And from Converge Philippines, we have Sir Lazaro B. Morales III. Good morning to all, and
Morning, sir.
viewed also to our Facebook official page DICT Region 3 who watching us live. Good morning to all of you. Ma'am, back Secretariat, is there any reminders before we proceed to our question and answer?
Good morning po. We would also like to discuss po the markings and sealings po sa envelope. Allow me to share my screen po.
Yes, thank you. Jennifer Ilag.
Good morning po ulit. We will discuss po the envelope system and proper sealing markings. Beads must be duly received by the back secretariat through manual submission at the office address indicated below on or before 9 a.m. of August 13, 2025. Late beads shall not be accepted. Bead envelopes must be addressed to the back chairperson, Adriel C. Miranda, DICT Region 3, 3rd floor, Marison Square Building, Cagayan Valley Road, Santa Rita, Giginto, Bulacan. Bidders shall submit one original, one duplicate, the copy 1, and one triplicate, the copy 2 of their bid. Each of these envelopes shall contain two separate inner envelopes, one for the technical component and one for the financial component. These inner envelopes must also be properly labeled as technical component and financial component respectively. All outer and inner envelopes shall be clearly and properly labeled, signed across the seal, and sealed in accordance with the updated guidelines in the Audit of Procurement issued by the Commission on Audit and the Government Procurement Policy Board. The three main envelopes, the original, duplicate, triplicate, must then be placed inside the one sealed mother envelope, also properly marked with the project title, name of the bidder, and address to the back. So here's the visual guide po on how the bidder should label each envelope. The required marking of bid envelope, it must be signed po. All 10 envelopes must be signed. The mother envelope, the outer envelope, the technical component, and the financial component. For the timeline po, the deadline of submission of bids is on August 13, 2025 at 9 a.m. and the opening of bids will be at 9:30 of the same day. For the bidding documents payment, the ABC po is 2,000,016 centavos. The bid documents fee is 5,000 pesos. Payment for the bidding documents shall be made manually. Interested bidders are advised to proceed to the DICT Region 3 Regional Office and directly pay at the cashier. When paying, please state the exact project title you are participating in to ensure proper recording and issuance of the official receipt. Only those who have paid for the bidding documents will be allowed to participate in the bidding process in accordance with Section 17.5 of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184. That's all po. Thank you po.
Thank you, Ma'am Jen. So the floor is open for the question and answer and for clarification that wish by our prospective bidder. Is there any question or would like to raise their hands? Okay, so since there is no question, the minutes of the meeting will be made available not later than 5 days after today upon the written request addressed to the DICT R3 backsec at dict.gov.ph. Any statement made at the pre-bid conference shall not modify the terms of the bidding documents unless such a statement is specifically identified in writing as an amendment thereto and issued as a supplemental bid bulletin. Any amendments in the detailed technical specification and bidding documents shall be posted through supplemental bid bulletin or yung SBB. I would like to remind all prospective bidders that they may submit additional queries or requests for clarification through an email official letter addressed to the Bids and Awards Committee and sent via the BAC Secretariat official email address on or before August 1, 2025. We also encourage everyone to regularly monitor the PhilJEP's website for any supplemental bid bulletin that may be issued. Please be reminded that it is the responsibility of all the prospective bidders to stay informed and ensure they have secured all supplemental bid bulletin related to this procurement. Is there any motion to adjourn this pre-bid conference?
I believe we have covered everything, Mr. Vice Chair. So with that, I move to adjourn the meeting.
So there's a move to adjourn the meeting of this pre-bid conference by Engineer Nerd de Guzman. Any second motion?
I second the motion.
Okay, there's a second motion to adjourn this pre-bid conference by Ma'am Ria. So I now call this pre-bid conference July 29, 26 minutes past 10 o'clock in the morning. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir
Thank
Edwin.
you.
Nabak.
Thank you.
To the members of the back, please stay. Parang meron tayong meeting.